Hi there, Damien here from the other side, wishing you and your family a very happy, healthy and holy Christmas and festive season. We're back for 2025, January 24. Until then, we're presenting our best segments from 2024. Hope you enjoy this one. Well, they have really overstepped the mark this time. Now, there's a bit of a narrative going around at the moment that Elon Musk is the big bad billionaire that needs to be brought down a peg or two by the great crusaders of safety and security down under in little old Australia. And it sounds like a very attractive narrative, doesn't it? All the politicians have bought into it. Everybody's getting behind the fight against big bad Elon. Well, I want to present a slightly different narrative for you tonight to have a think about. Have a look at it this way. A little band of power-mad, out-of-control e-Karen bureaucrats in a country called Australia think they have the authority to tell the whole world what they can and can't watch online. Now, I thought these people just wanted to dictate and dominate over us as Aussies. Nope. They're so high on self-importance delusion, these bureaucrats, that they think they're bigger than that. Well, it's time for us to remind them how tiny and insignificant they are. It's time, I think, that we really consider sacking the eSafety Commissioner and disbanding the eSafety Commission. Let me explain why. One of the ways in which big government takes power and control that we all have to be on the lookout for all the time, be careful, because it's sneaky, is under the guise of keeping us safe. All the great dystopian novelists have warned about it, from Huxley's Brave New World to Orwell's 1984, and even J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. Now, we do need regulations and government authorities to keep us safe from some things: dodgy builders, criminals, and invading armies. But sometimes government goes too far. Actually, let me correct that. Government always goes too far because it likes to feed itself and its own importance, so it can justify taking more power and tax dollars from us and growing and growing and growing itself. So when governments say it's for your own good, we're keeping you safe, we have to immediately push back skeptically and cautiously with, okay, but who's keeping a check on how far you're going with that? But I didn't realise how bad it had gotten until this week, when the eSafety Commissioner decided to demand that all social media platforms take down video of the stabbing attack on Western Sydney Christian Orthodox Bishop Ma Murray Emanuel. That vision was not that disturbing. It's not that graphic. There are reports that the knife didn't even open. I've seen the footage. It looks like somebody punching somebody, and it's not pleasant, but it's not terrifying. It's not anything like what you'd see in an average Hollywood movie these days. But what makes this interesting is that, as we discussed on the show last week, this bishop is a huge social media identity all around the world. So such an order is a kind of global censorship, and the order is a global order.
I have issued a notice to X Corp requiring them to move this content. A legal notice will also be sent to Meta this afternoon, and further notices will likely follow. I will not hesitate to use further graduated powers at my disposal if there was continued non-compliance.
Wow, she could be the next Premier of Victoria with that attitude. How did X respond to that little rousing on from the Queen of Online Censorship from Australia? They responded like this. The recent attacks in Australia are a horrific assault on free society. Our condolences go out to all those who've been affected, and we stand with the Australian people in calling for those responsible to be brought to justice. Following these events, the Australian Safety Commissioner ordered X to remove certain posts in Australia that publicly commented on the recent attack against a Christian bishop. These posts did not violate X's rules on violent speech. X believes that eSafety order was not within the scope of Australian law, and we complied with the directive pending a legal challenge. X has now received a demand from the eSafety Commissioner that X globally withhold these posts or face a daily fine of 785,000 Australian dollars, about 500,000 US dollars. Okay, they're doing this in our name, folks. Australian petty bureaucrats are fining large global media platforms these insane levels of money because somebody somewhere might post something on their platforms that they don't approve of. This will have an impact on our country and its reputation internationally as a free and tolerant society that's truly committed to adult public dialogue and fundamental principles of liberal democracy. The way they handled COVID has had an impact on the way the world sees Australia already, and it's not positive, I can assure you. And this too will make us a less attractive destination for investment, business, which means jobs, partnerships, and everything. All right, maybe you don't care about that, but what is it doing to our freedom and liberty domestically at home then? Back to X's statement. This was a tragic event, and we do not allow people to praise it or call for further violence. There is a public conversation happening about the event on X and across Australia, as is often the case when events of major public concern occur. Yep, and in grown-up liberal democracies where governments treat people like adults to be served and respected, not like children to be lorded over like an angry, rousing, power-mad schoolteacher, we are supposed to allow healthy public conversations to take place. You get peace between different ethnic groups like Muslims and Christians in Western Sydney through more community connection and conversation, good and bad. That's how you build understanding. You build division by shutting down conversation or communication between groups that disagree. We do not need bureaucrats interfering in that normal, natural human process, or people using tragedy like this for their political ends, like censorship. Back to X's statement again. While X respects the right of a country to enforce its laws within its jurisdiction, the eSafety Commissioner does not have the authority to dictate what content X's users can see globally. We will robustly challenge this unlawful and dangerous approach in court. Global takedown orders go against the very principles of a free and open internet and threaten free speech everywhere. Now, folks, you know, it's very rare that corporations have the guts to take a stand on principle like that. We see corporations all over the place grandstanding and virtue signaling on all sorts of garbage these days. But they only do that because it serves their interests and they think that their marketing efforts will be improved and there'll be dollars in it for them. What we're seeing here is a company sincerely taking a stand on principle that could cost it a fair bit. And we should therefore fully support it and fully support Elon Musk. And thankfully, many smart, right-minded Australians do. One responder to the X statement wrote this: "As an Australian, I fully support Elon Musk on this matter, more than I support the government. A foundational principle of Western societies is that the government doesn't tell you what to read, think or say. Unfortunately, the Australian government believes it can bully citizens into following their decrees. I fear freedom of speech and freedom of thought are on very shaky ground in Australia right now. We need and thank you for your support." And this one: "Freedom of speech is an essential human right, promoting civil liberties and democracy. Thank you, X, for upholding these principles. Government global takedown orders contravene protection of these rights, restricting debate and knowledge to a controlled narrative, affecting freedom of speech everywhere. And finally, this is why I happily pay to use X. Thank you, Elon Musk, for standing up for us." Good stuff there, and it gives me a lot of heart to read that, especially when you see the onslaught from both sides of politics supporting this attack on X and Elon Musk. Now, in the Westminster system, the job of pushing back normally falls to the opposition party. But in Australia, we seem to have no opposition party on issues that are centre or centre-left anymore because our main centre-right party has shifted so far to the centre-left. Also, even though our opposition leader Peter Dutton comes from the more conservative right-leaning faction of his party, he used to be a cop. So he's more authoritarian right than libertarian right. And he's very big on government surveillance power. He helped bring in laws a couple of years back that allow government authorities much more access to your private data than they had before. But I think this time he's backed the wrong horse. Nevertheless, he has backed it, giving the ABC and left-wing mainstream media, which of course wants the power to control what you hear and see all for itself, all the ammunition that they need to paint Elon Musk as the arrogant global CEO, thinking he's above the law of the mighty Australian government.
We've seen some of the comments from Elon Musk overnight. They see themselves above the law.
Political frustration with social media giants is building and could provide a new opportunity to push forward stalled misinformation laws aimed at requiring companies to keep tabs on false information spread on their networks.
We need to get the right balance. So that is, we don't want to impinge on your ability to express a view in a democracy. It's a key fundamental element of who we are.
Some things are clearly designed to spread false information and to incite violence.
Okay, so that was how ABC News reported it this week. First, we heard Peter Dutton's view there, calling for a balance between free speech and public safety. And then we heard the much more authoritarian vibe of Labor's Chris Bowen saying some things are deliberately put up online to incite violence. Yes, that's true, but not in this case. And in a liberal democracy, we do not go around banning everything that might hurt us, and we must be sceptical of the motives of government that want to do that. And I don't trust Chris Bowen being the arbiter of what I can and cannot read or watch. Do you? As for Dutton, this is not the time for balance, mate. We are under attack because all of this is about bringing back onto the agenda something that was taken off the agenda after a massive backlash last year. Remember the voice vote? Remember how Canberra got its backside handed to it on a plate? How the bureaucrats in the capital city voted for the voice, 2-1, and everyone else in Australia voted against the voice, 2-1. Yeah, well, they haven't forgotten that. They haven't forgotten the power that we had over them, that shows like this had, to be able to tell you the other side of the story so you can make up your own mind. The government doesn't like that, and the bureaucrats hate it, and the opposition doesn't like that either. The two major parties do not want anyone but them controlling things around this place. Okay, so they're now using the attack last week to put their misinformation and disinformation bill, those nasty laws, firmly back on the agenda, as the ABC explained in its report.
The first draft of the bill, which would give communications regulator ACMA stronger powers, was pulled by the government late last year. Some coalition figures had labelled the bill Orwellian, but the opposition now seems more open to reworked laws.
If the laws are inadequate and they need to be strengthened or added to, then we would support any effort from the government.
In a building famous for its division, social media giants are a rare common enemy. Both Labor and the Coalition seem to agree that if something can't be said offline, it shouldn't be spread online. But regulating the online world is tricky, and working out what is and isn't misinformation can be contentious. Even with a little bit of goodwill, landing these laws won't be easy.
That's the ABC's political reporter Tom Lowry there. It won't be easy at all, Tom. I think it'll spark the biggest backlash since The Voice from those of us sick of government and the elites. And the Liberal National Coalition needs to get its act together quick smart on formulating its policy and messaging on this that is a lot tougher than what we've seen so far. The people will back you. Meanwhile, once again, the minor parties, the Libertarian Party and One Nation, are speaking out strongly and owning this one. And it'd be nice for once to see some people from the old left, the left that used to stand up to the establishment and the elites before they became the establishment and the elites, some old left politicians and commentators saying, no, this is ethically and morally wrong in a liberal democracy, and we won't have it. What's happened to all those old battlers? If you enjoyed that clip, check out our website at othersidetv.com.au and sign up to join us in our 2025 mission to revolutionise Australian media. We're back with brand new content from Friday, January 24. There is a better way to view life than thinking that we're all victims who need big government to save us. Check us out, othersidetv.com.au. Here at The Other Side, we do not get more than $1 billion of taxpayer money like the ABC does to waste on fun stuff that we and our friends like while ignoring the public that we're supposed to serve. We have to rely on your support of this show. But I also hate asking for charity. So we've done a deal with what I think is the best VPN service in the world so that you can support this show and get excellent value for yourself in return. Private Internet Access VPN is a virtual private network. You download their app onto your phone, your TV, your computer, whatever you use, and it'll route all your data through a different server location so that you can't be tracked by the prying eyes of big government and big corporations. It keeps you and your family truly safe, and it will not massively slow down your internet speeds or make it harder to use your devices like some VPNs do. Private Internet Access, PIA VPN, is quick and easy to install, and once you've downloaded it, that's pretty much it. You can sign up using our special Other Side code for less than $3 a month. Unbelievable. That is a whopping 83% off the normal price. And you'll get the first 4 months free, and you will be helping our show a lot. So get onto it, piavpn.com/otherside to get the special deal. And get this, if you've got a Netflix account, by signing on through a server in another country to Netflix, like the US, for example, you'll get access to that country's library of Netflix shows on your account as if you were in that country, which is also great if you want Netflix in a different language or something. PIAVPN.com/other side.